Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Chat that Ruled Them All. My name is Cam, but you know me as Dr. Dreads, and I have the honor to have the chance to interview and to get to know more of the lovely Amberthyst. Thank you so much for your time for being here today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate that you're doing this. Just all around. It's not often I get to talk a little bit about my cosplay expertise and experience. So I really appreciate it, and I look forward to how this goes.
And for those who are watching here, you might see a bit of, in case you didn't know, I'm also a dog person as well as Amber. So you might see a bit of some of our four-legged guests might jump by, just say hi or make their
Yeah.
presence. So, and I couldn't help myself as the time was getting ready. I just recently finished playing Kingdom Hearts 3
Oh,
because
I saw that.
it's I in a way it's like the, the game is corny, but I still love it in a certain way because at the same time saying, when am I ever going to team up with Disney characters and sometimes Final Fantasy characters to in whatever world? So
I
um
know, man. That's the beauty of it. I mean, like, where else are you going to have the chance to defeat a giant monster riding a blinged out train riding across the back of the rock titan or whatever, like,
exactly.
man,
And so
that's Kingdom Hearts is where it's at.
exactly. And so all right, I'm ready to ready to start as long as you are.
Yeah, good to
So
go.
let's get to started here. So this segment called "Is the Past." So this is the origin story, knowing about you, the cosplay origin story, and make you step into the world of cosplay. So I guess we're going to simple out saying start out simple. What made you step into the world of cosplay? What made you saying I want to go as this character and go out in the world and meet other people in costumes?
Um, so I had to write some of this down when I was kind of looking at my notes and trying to review like kind of what made me get started down this path. And I think I tie it back to I was kind of a lonely kid growing up. I was kind of isolated, and I probably started out in theater. I was really heavily into musical theater and the idea that you could, like escape who you are for that moment and be somebody else. Um, and I didn't know about cosplay at the time, but I think that's what sort of led me to this cosplay journey. And I wasn't actually even allowed to like go to conventions, cosplay, or anything like that until I was fully out of um, high school, and that's was like my first time I got to experience, what it was like, and at the risk of not like trampling over some of the other questions you may have, I'll leave it at that. I think it started out me being very lonely, having a very active imagination, and wanting to be somebody else, I think. And it's still to this day, I think that's what drives a lot of my cosplay choices.
And to me, I feel like this is for like going to many of these conventions or many of these people who's into these similarities. The same here for like costuming or whatever type of like fandom. To me, I feel like that's also a big like an importance to that because I think for a while back I went to go. It was a release of an anime store that was like the grand opening. People were very excited, and so I was there for a little bit, and then right when I left, I think it was someone told me because his daughter was there. He was like, "Oh, what made people come around to this?" And stuff like, and so people was just like they're happy just to be around one another who's into their who's
Yeah,
um uh um same likes as they are. So
yeah, it's that sense of camaraderie. I mean, where I grew up, I hope you don't mind if I just tag along off of that too.
you're
Um,
good.
Where I grew up, I was like heavily bullied for liking anime, liking manga, and then getting to sort of be around all these people that had the same interests as me. That you know, it's a very unifying experience, and it's kind of what led me to where I am today, I think. And you know, it's very easy to forget that, but you know, it's nice that you're able to connect with one another on a way that you may not be able to with you know, other people in your life. So yeah.
And so, do you happen to remember what happened to be either your first cosplay as well the first convention that you went to?
Absolutely. um, so going back to the whole, like, you know, pretending to be somebody else, um I find a lot of my cosplay influences are also brought about by like who I feel like I resemble sometimes. Um, and Full Metal Alchemist was really big at the time. Um, and let it be known, I'm 4'10". So here's me, 18 years old, looking at this, you know, short, angry little dude. Um, and thinking, okay, well, I can definitely do that. So I threw together a very basic Edward Elric costume. And at the time, I was in the habit of dyeing my hair blonde. So I didn't do a wig. It was, and I still have the picture to this day. Um, of my very first convention, the very first convention that I went to, I cosplayed to, and it was Anime Week in Atlanta,
Yeah.
2007.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll never forget that. Like the second I walked through the door, I'm gonna date myself so badly when I say this. Somebody did what the elders called glomp. Um, So they like somebody immediately glomped me as I came through the door. And so that was my first like introduction into um conventions and cosplay and just like the welcoming atmosphere, I guess, that was brought about by it. So, uh,
Do you
so
happen? Was it just like just another fan, or was someone in cosplay that just immediately just greeted you, or
yeah, no, it was somebody that was just excited to see me. And
okay?
I had no idea who they are, but and I still have no idea who they were, but thank you, whoever you were. Um, you brought me down this path somehow. um, yeah, and you know, I later, like 10 years later, redid the costume and actually got to do a group, and it was kind of nice revisiting that. But yep, Full Metal Alchemist, 2007, Anime Week in Atlanta.
And I guess that last one other question just to mention about this during that time was usually during around a time where when I went to convention, there's used to be like that one like either anime show that was just really popular. I see a lot of. I guess to put an example, one of my first cosplay or my first convention, it was during at MomoCon, and Sword Art Online was very popular,
Yep.
and
Yeah, I
so
remember.
that happened to be everywhere. Do you happen to remember what was that cosplay scene everywhere, or was it usually Full Out?
Um, if I remember right, and I'd have to like double back and look at my pictures because this was back when um we had flip phones and we record we used like the little disposable cameras, you know. Um
Yeah, the
yeah, uh, I'm gonna croak any second now. Um the popular thing that was on at the time was Bleach. And a lot of the ones that were kind of still going or like just ended recently. Naruto was really big. Um, you know, and obviously Full Metal had like released not that long ago.
Right.
And Kingdom Hearts was pretty decent too. In fact, my roommate in college, that's what she went as Sora,
Right.
and and these were just like, we hadn't even gotten into the whole idea of like, making your own costumes, that sort of thing yet.
Right.
Uh, it was just kind of like slapped together, just like an alchemist. So that's what we did.
I mean, it's simple as that. Seeing, that's like a big thing. Many people have to like put it all together. Seeing right here, I think it took like a bit of help. I think I remember someone said they had to get like bits and pieces whenever I think they either went to Sailor Venus at the time, and so it's like saying you just explain. I just had to go to. I think she said I felt like I lived at either Joann's or Hobby Lobby for the longest time trying to get all that together.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, just how many anime series, manga series just transcend time. We
Right.
still see people cosplaying uh Bleach, sometimes like One Piece. Full Metal makes a comeback every now and then.
Right.
I think that's really cool. I think that's one of my favorite things about cosplay, is that, you may have forgotten that this anime or manga existed and you're like, oh, it's the best. It's the best, honestly.
And so I think I might have got excited during one time. I think I saw either a friend of mine, they were going as Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes, yes. We
It-
did a group several years ago. Was it, God, it had to be like 2017 or something. And I was so shocked by how many people were just so excited to like see a whole group of people.
Staying here, I think we just here finished with the past, so let's go ahead and jump over now to the present. And so, ever since about meeting you, I see you just so many how much you've been like going around many across as like various Disney princesses, to Kingdom Hearts, um, and so there's just so much, it's very just kind of hard to pick to hear going around with this. And so, do you happen to have like the one costume that kind of like stuck with you for a long time? Not necessarily it has to be your favorite, but the one that kind of like it kind of speaks dear to your heart for a little while or for a long
Uh,
time.
yeah, actually, I've got a couple. I mean, a lot of people tend to remember me the most as Merida. Um, and when people every now and then there's like this thing that makes the rounds of the cosplay communities. It's like, hey, what's the cosplay I'm most known for? And I bet you like 9/10 of the people will say Merida. Um, and that's because I was performing as Merida for so long, for not only like a princess company, but also for our volunteer group that does that kind of stuff. Um, and for a little while, I think Toph was also included. The big one that sticks with me the most is Sora. Like we've talked about earlier, like Kingdom Hearts to me is has a very special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and there are so many great memories that just, come along with that. Such a great experience too. But those are the ones that stick out the most in my mind. Merida, Toph, Sora, and I'm sure there's ones that I'm forgetting too. There's I know Anna sometimes is, or Princess Anna is sometimes associated with me because technically Princess Anna is how I got my huge, like when I really first started focusing really on cosplay, it was Princess Anna. And that's what led me into this wormhole. While Edward Elric may have been like my first cosplay, I feel like Princess Anna was like the I guess like crossing the threshold into the unknown, so to
Right.
speak.
And I also wanted to ask about saying you've been doing uh cosplay volunteering, because that's mainly seeing how much you seeing you either like read stories, sometimes you go to events, and I see like various stuff how you do from like as Anna. I know I think I've seen a few times as Rapunzel, and just recently you just going as Bluey. And so
Yeah, I love Bluey. Um, yeah, so cosplay volunteering started out with like first of all this desire to you know okay, try not to get emotional about this because this is stuff that like really speaks to me. So my dad, he was a huge figure in my life. And he passed away. Um it'll be 2 years in January. But he was really big on community service and giving back to the community. Um and so my best friend and I at the time, we were, doing princess parties as Princess Anna, Queen Elsa, and I had the thought, like, hey, what if we could do this thing where we also, I don't know, bring it to kids who maybe can't afford to go to Disney to see Princess Anna and Elsa, or like, um, kids who are really struggling right now. And someone at the time, and I don't remember who it was like, well, good news, there's this thing called Cosplay Volunteers of Atlanta, and they actually do this.
okay.
Um, and Cosplay Volunteers of Atlanta um, was had formed in like 2013. So I'm talking like 2014 was when I reached out and was like, hey, I'd love to get involved. And I have been involved in that ever since. It's had many iterations. um, and it's been a wild journey with the volunteer group, and it's something that I'm most proud of. And you know, um, I I may not do a whole lot of princessing anymore because I feel like um, I might be like I'm starting to feel like um, I might have aged out of princessing, and I'm worried. Like I guess I have this like fear that I'm too old now to be Princess Anna or like Princess Rapunzel, who's my absolute fave. So I've been hiding a lot behind mascots lately. And it's fun. I mean,
Right.
it's I got a Bluey mascot earlier this year because I have a blue healer um who is like my ride or die. She's in this room behind me right now. Um, I got into Bluey because I have a blue healer. And, Bluey is this really cute kids show on Disney Plus, but it's also for adults. So it shocked me just how popular Bluey was at events and still is at events. And I get requests now just to like show up at events to be Bluey. And as at most recently being at Eggleston on Monday, we were there with Bluey, and I had another friend there as Bluey's little sister Bingo. It's really cool to see something that we love, and like something that we find so endearing with cosplay, and being able to translate that into um, a way that you can give back.
And to me, just hearing how much you're like putting it here, and like folks, I cannot stress how much seeing how much she just loves just making these kids just have a bright, happy day for here. So much going on with this one. It's really just so much how much just warms my heart just seeing how much just saying just putting on just these costumes just kind of like just brightening up their day, seeing like that, and like just seeing how much just going ahead throughout, seeing something like from here to Disney Princess or any of Disney princesses or just Bluey. And it's just really seeing how much stuff like that, I think to me, how much to me even how cosplaying can just make a difference. Just even um um uh I guess I kind of put it in this way because I've been watching a little bit of like Disney videos. That one little spark can just make it.
100%. Yes. I love that reference too. 100%.
I couldn't help it here, especially since I just saw my friends was just watching Disney videos, and then many people who just talk about that ride journey and imagination saying the one little spark thing. So I just couldn't have him saying that came to mind. So, and I think, and yeah, there was just so much seeing right here. I'm about to ask just any like stories, either in conventions or just from volunteering that kind of like stood out to you, but seeing just how much you just did for these kids, that's like just it just sounds just how incredibly heartwarming that just sounds to hear how much you're just doing from all that. And so, and then for what he did for here for your dog, and if you ask what was her name again?
My dog.
Yes.
Um, so my blue healer, she's right behind me. You may
Okay.
be able to catch her. I don't know. She's right there. That's my ride or die. Her name is Wendy Moira Angela Darling, also another Disney reference. Um, but we call her Moira. She is our beloved blue healer. Um, the OG service dog failure in my life.
And
Uh,
so, and I guess I would head ask a question. I felt like when you started off from Full Metal Alchemist and then now doing from cosplaying for many of these characters going here, do you feel like those type of shows or fandom kind of like help you influence kind of like step into the world of cosplay in a way?
I think so. I mean, I think there's something that you can take away from everything that that you watch or cosplay from. There's always some sort of lesson that can be, even if it's not that you're cosplaying like a main character, there's
Right.
always something I personally take away from each character. Um, I think that's why a lot of us do cosplay is just, we see ourselves in a certain character. With Edward, from Full Metal Alchemist, for me, it was, not only just the physical, being short, having a sometimes short temper, but also, that willingness to just sort of sacrifice as much as you can for the
Right.
people that you love. That's always, I always think back to my dad. He was someone who eh, would have done anything to he would have given like the shirt off of his back. And I try to be like that too. I don't um but I digress. um I think that's kind of what brings me into doing these characters. Bluey may be a little bit different. I mean, except for the fact that I have a blue healer, I don't really relate too much to a 6-year-old.
Right.
But it's the fact that kids love it, and I'm here to um, make them smile, make them forget for like just 10 minutes of their day that they're struggling or in pain. um I think that's what drives me to do cosplay. And I can't speak for all the cosplayers, but I think I'm 35 years old, and that's what keeps me going when it comes to cosplay. And hopefully I will be doing this until I drop, so we'll see.
And so that's I can't tell you how just heartwarming that is, and I can't just tell you saying just how great this is grading. And so
Thank
uh,
you.
And so I guess to go ahead and try to moving on to I guess the next other topic saying here. So this has been like a big type of debate that many here for many cosplays, which is unfortunately something that we hear many times saying you can't go this character because you can't cosplay this character because of blah blah blah, or the big one including buying closet cosplay or just completely making it scratch. And so I just seen like what is just your thoughts every time you hear those kind of like topics going around at times. So
Um, it really depends on, you have to be a little bit careful when you talk about these sort of things. I think in terms of at least the aspect of, buying, making, uh, you know, cosplay is cosplay. You're showing your love for a character that you um have some sort of connection to. And I think as long as you're doing that in a way that's not harmful to like, for example, um as long as you're not doing things that would seriously offend and hurt, people that may have like an indigenous background or maybe POC, as long as you're respectful of that culture and you're not, um, you know, you're you're staying within a certain bound. Um,
right,
I hope I'm making sense here.
right,
Um, Definitely a topic that cosplayers need to address more and be more conscious of. Cosplay is cosplay. People should be able to cosplay what they want within reason. Um,
right.
and I've been very outspoken about this in the past. And I just, the thing about it is you also want to make sure that you are being an ally to those people. And I think that's what is really important. We're a community, so we have to try to look out for one another.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so and woo, this is stuff like here in the present why I usually enjoy like talking about here because it makes you feel like many just moments coming here to talk about this and saying how it can kind of way it can hopefully influence or kind of give lessons to many people around here who's willing to step into the world of cosplay. And so I guess and so for the last segment, this is only just come here for the future, which just be simple enough. So I know since they're basically like a lot of here. Many people have saying they want to go as this or that. Has there been any other like characters that's kind of like in a wish list that you want to think about hopefully trying to go there in the future?
I have a couple. So I'm wearing my Sylvie wig, my Sylvie horns, whatever, for
Right.
Loki. Um, I freaking love Loki. Okay, he is such a complex character. And you know, I do love Sylvie, and I really liked her like season 2 look. So like that's one of the things that's on my to-do list one day. The other two things, because because I do so much with the volunteering, I also always have something in the back of my mind that can be used to like make kids smile. And the other thing that I want to try to do is, I have Bluey, but now I need to get her younger sister Bingo. So I can alternate if needed. And That's going to be a long process, I think. Uh, we, but I want to also mention too, like, we tend to go back and forth with uh sometimes we make our costume. I say we because my partner too. He helps me out a lot with my costumes when it comes to making them. But like with our mascots, um, those are things that we did not make. So I don't want to take any credit for having put that together.
Right.
But one thing we are working on, because Five Nights at Freddy's was such a big hit.
Yeah.
um, we are working on a Freddy build, that
Okay.
we, like, immediately, and it's just for fun, it's just for conventions. It's the kind of stuff I like to do because, I also have an Ewok costume that, occasionally I scared little children in for some reason. So, like, I have a couple of things on the horizon, but I haven't really, like, focused yet. And I'm hoping come January I'll have a better idea of what I want to do. The first thing I need to do is make sure I get the Ewok ready for Rebel Legion.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry, I know that was a lot, and
No, you're good. And I guess
um,
just one more question, just before we wrap it up here. Has there been any? Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to step into the world of cosplay for themselves and experience it for themselves?
just jump on in. The water's fine. Um, I mean, to me, I was so hesitant when I first started cosplaying. And this is something I'm still kind of learning myself. Because um I am s- I've gained weight as a result of a disability that I have. And so I have sometimes a really bad image of myself. But I just, I don't want others to, this goes under the category of, like, advice that I give to others I don't always follow myself. But I
Right.
mean, it's just, don't let that stop you from doing what you want to do, as long as it's in a safe and constructive way.
Right. It's
um and the other piece of advice I would give is, we're a community, and it took me a long time to realize that, there's people out there that I can talk to and get advice from on costuming, on joining groups too. I mean, it still takes a lot from me, especially if you're a neurodivergent cosplayer like I am.
right.
It takes a lot out of me to reach out to people, and, like, ask for something. But I would say, like, just do it. Just reach out and ask. There's always somebody somewhere that will have some idea, some answer.
Right.
Last
Okay.
thing. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Love one another. Okay. Like,
Absolutely.
enough. I cannot stress that enough. Right now, am I allowed to curse?
It's fine.
Okay. Right now, shit's tough. Okay.
Absolutely.
Shit's tough. Just, you know, find your community, and find somebody that you can really get along with and talk to during these times. And I think that's really important. So,
Okay. It's
yeah, there's
no, you're good. It's
my advice from 35-year-old cosplayer.
Thank you so much for your time to tell about your story. This was very heartwarming. I'm happy I had the chance to have able to reach out and uh tell us all the tales from here about cosplaying. So once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Like I said, in the beginning, I really appreciate it. And I don't get to talk about it as much as I would like in terms of the volunteering aspect, but I just huge thank you for allowing me to talk about it, and for your time. I mean,
Absolutely.
that time is valuable. So
Sure. Folks, if you have the chance, please go check out Amberthyst if you have to check when you have the chance. And then I'll as well make sure to put a link as well for the Cosplay Volunteer group to have a chance to look at them as well. So because this was a very happy thing. This is honestly stuff like this, how the Power Can Cosplay can do stuff like that. And other than that, thank you everyone for watching here. You all take it easy. My name is Cam, also known as Dr. Dress. We'll see you guys next time.
bye. Thank you, Cam.
Absolutely.